welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Ellie, and today I'm joined by Katie and Chloe.
Hello.
Coming up on this week's episode, we'll be discussing Black Friday and why you should prioritise building a community instead of gaining followers, along with why Lush just quit all social media platforms. Stick around to the end of the show where we'll be answering some of your burning DMs. So, before we get into the topic of this week's episode, I want to discuss the big event of the weekend, that is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So, did either of you get sucked into any deals, and did you purchase anything, or was there a particular brand that particularly stood out to you with their social media advertising? Like, let me know.
Katie, you go.
So, I feel like I was kind of smart this year because I was, accidentally disorganised. So, I planned on doing my Christmas shopping, ages ago, and then, suddenly we're now, basically in December. And I managed to do, probably, 80% of my Christmas shopping over the weekend, and I got some mad deals. I won't say them now because a lot of it's for my family, and I don't know if they listen, so hi family. But also I did save money on your gifts. No, I managed to get some really good accidental deals, and I completely forgot it was Black Friday.
You just thought you were having a really good weekend.
Well, I didn't realise until I opened up my laptop and I was like, right, I'm going to do my Christmas shopping, and then it was Black Friday, and I was like, wait a second. Because in my head, we've gone past Black Friday, because I did all the campaigns for, my clients weeks ago.
So true, so true. I feel like I'm very good at not getting sucked into the Black Friday mania. It's not really a big thing in Oz, so now that I've come here, I'm kind of oh, it's just another weekend. What I did do, though, is because I'm on quite a few Secret Santa lists this year, is I just sent people links to things I wanted, and I said, don't forget it's Black Friday on the weekend. You can save money on my presents this weekend, and then you can buy me more.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, pretty much. So, although I wasn't as well-timed as you, Katie, I got a bit ahead of myself. I thought I'm going to organise all of my Christmas presents early, and actually ended up purchasing most of them a few days before Black Friday. And I knew Black Friday was coming up, but when you just get a bit too hyped and you don't want to wait. Luckily though, I did check the same websites over the weekend to see if I had, see if I needed to kick myself. But luckily, most of the things I bought weren't included in any kind of sale, so I dodged a bullet, thankfully. But yeah, in terms of brands that I love, one that stands out, and it's always for the wrong reasons, is Pretty Little Thing. They very controversially, every year have this sale that's up to 100% off or 99% off, which just is the epitome of everything that's wrong with the fashion industry and fast fashion in general. If you could afford to let things go for 99% off, how much did it actually cost to make, and how, it shows how willing you are to get rid of things for the sake of it. So that was a one that I remember, but for very bad reasons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That was the one that I was going to say, because I just kept seeing it pop up on my on my Instagram feed.
Relentlessly, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was all over the weekend, every single day, they'd be up to 100% off, and I'd go on the website, and all the things I wanted were 10% off. So it was probably and I saw a few TikToks, going back to our TikTok love. There was lots of TikToks about people who had gone and purchased on there, but the images wouldn't load. So they'd gone and bought these things for no money, and then it was awful, like unitards, patterned bralettes, things that you typically wouldn't want. But yeah, again, all things that are wrong within the fast fashion industry.
I feel like I'm on a very different side of Instagram, because all I saw was the Pretty Little Thing slander.
There you go.
Bad fast fashion, get away.
That's good. You want to stay on that side,
Exactly.
so you don't get sucked in.
But I'm these can't be the deals that people before COVID times. These can't be the deals that people are waiting outside shops for from 3 a.m. and doing fist fights to get, like, these can't be the same deals, surely.
It's just not the same as in America. I feel like the Americans, they do it right, whereas we kind of do like a few little discounts here and there, but nothing major.
It's the worst. Their brands really, really hype. This is anytime there's like the Vogue Cyber Sale or Black Friday or Boxing Day, brands love to hype us, and then it's something like, if your discount is between 10 and 20%, like if it's a 10, 15 or 20, even if, don't get me started if it's a 5% discount, guys, that is not that's not a sale. Like, that is not a sale, and you will not be getting my business. Like, I need to see 30 is that weird number where maybe you'll catch me, but it's got to be
depending on like how much of a discount that actually gets you.
Yeah. But like 40, 50, 60, 70, that's where the money's at for me. I'm not interested in any other number except those. So it really annoys me when brands like have their little fun 20% off. I'm like, oh, okay, well.
This is the thing, like Black Friday, it's meant to be a big event of the year, and then they give these, flimsy naff little discounts that you could get anyway. If you literally type in like discount code for blah blah blah, and it would come up with a 10% discount code anyway. So
I'll get that from your influencers.
Yeah.
That went into full Black Friday slander though. Whoops.
Two things we're passionate about here on the podcast: it's TikTok and
deals.
Yeah. So that was our opinion on Black Friday. Let us know if you got anything in the sales and whether there are any brands that stood out to you. Moving on to our main segment of this week's episode, we are of course going to be discussing why you should prioritise building a community instead of gaining followers. So just to provide a little bit of context for the listeners, building a community is essential for growth on social media. Social media is a great place to connect with your target audience, grow brand awareness and drive customers to your website. With so many people active on various platforms, it can be easy to assume that the more followers you and your business have, the better. But in reality, you're going to get better results from having quality followers rather than having a large quantity of followers. Therefore, it's more important to build a community than a following. So first off, you're probably wondering, what do we mean when we say following and community? So a following consists of the people who follow your social media accounts, whereas a community consists of people who are passionate about your brand, industry, or a certain topic that aligns with your brand. For example, if your company sells chocolate, your community might consist of people who love your brand and products, love chocolates in general, or are interested in food or sweets, and like sweet treats. So whilst it can be tempting to do whatever it takes to gain followers, it's important to remember that having a quality following is more important than your quantity of followers. So building a community is a great way to form a group of engaged followers who are excited about your brand, which in turn increases engagement, grows brand awareness, builds relationships, makes sales and creates a loyal fan base. And remember to try and not get sucked into the trap of buying followers. Because whilst having a large number of followers may seem like a great way to help people connect with your brand, and it can be if they are real people, but 9 times out of 10 when you buy followers, they will often be fake and inactive accounts or bots, which is detrimental to your brand in the long term. So what's the point?
Don't do it.
Exactly. So sorry, that was quite a long intro, guys, but please tell me your thoughts on community over just having a following, and what you think on this topic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of people can freak out if they can get very fixated on things like vanity metrics with followers, especially, like you said, do not buy followers. We cannot stress this enough. It will not help you. But it's you're just much better off putting in the time and effort that you would take to buy followers, to actually put that energy and money into actually cultivating a community through things like community management. And I think community management is a really good way to make the most of the following that you have, if that makes sense, and then even reach out to new people.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the obvious, right? Buying followers is the big no-no, but even other tactics that people use to kind of gain followers really quickly, the follow-unfollow technique, and just absolutely spamming the hell hell out of people. It's just like, yeah, it's really effective at growing your following number really quickly, but at the end of the day, like, what is the point of having like 500,000 followers if only 5,000 of those followers are actually interested in your brand, your niche, your industry? Like, it's almost like having a bunch of ghost followers there. Like, you're not going to get the engagement from them. You're not going to get interactions from them. You're not going to get sales from them. All they are there for is kind of your own vanity metric, right? So that's number one. It's also important to note that as social media managers, but even as your average, everyday customer, it's so transparent when someone has used these tactics to grow their following. Like, if you have, as I said, 50,000 followers and you've got like 3 likes on each of your posts, like, hello.
So obvious.
It's very transparent, and it's also, I get a little bit of secondhand embarrassment for you. Like, no shade to the people that do that, and if vanity metrics is something that matter to you, then go ahead. But for me, like, engagement is just the heart and soul of your business and your entire presence on social media, right? So I guess that is kind of where I wanted to start this conversation off.
I mean, I was going to say as well, if you prioritize the quality followers you have already, and nurture them in the content that they will value, the engagement will naturally increase. And I feel like even traditional methods like word of mouth and those followers sharing your content, like resharing the content, is an organic way of gaining followers, but whilst also focusing on your community, if that makes sense. I'm sorry if that made no sense, does. But yeah, it all interlinks, and there's no point in focusing on, like we said, the unfollow method or buying followers, because it is detrimental in the long term, and it's pointless in terms of if your business is to do with sales, you're not going to get any sales because these people aren't real, or these people don't care about your product. So why are they going to buy from your service? It's like I said, it all interlinks.
Yeah, definitely.
I think like the best way to start, we talk about focus on a community, but like for some people it is quite hard to build that following, especially in the initial sort of phases where you're struggling to gain traction. So if that is you, I would say the best place to start is kind of to define your purpose and what you stand for. Like, obviously every business these days just needs a social media platform as a set standard, but that's kind of not enough anymore. You need to, especially if you want to build a community, really find a unique way to spin your brand. So, for example, Ellie, you said at the beginning, maybe you're a chocolate brand, and there are a lot of chocolate brands in the world. So try and find like a little niche within that topic, that industry, and a way to stand. So maybe you're an ethical chocolate brand that sources, ethical cacao beans, however you say, and maybe like donating to non-profits or independent like communities that grow these products. Maybe that's your standpoint, and there are plenty of people in the world who are really dedicated to that sort of cause and making sure that ethical production is at the heart of every brand that they kind of consume. So yeah, Katie's one of us. The one.
That's
so
how you market to me.
Totally, right? And then you go like people that are kind of into that thing or any kind of niche, are super passionate about it, and that's kind of where you start finding that community and planting that seed, so to speak. And then I guess from there, the next thing that's important that a lot of brands and agencies go wrong at is that to stop broadcasting and start engaging. Like a lot of people just talk at their customers, but they're not talking to or replying to or considering or like starting a conversation with their audience. So maybe pulling back on the sales a little bit, especially if you're a small business. That's like super important to you, I know, but if you build that community, I promise you the sales will come. So yeah, what do you think? Do you guys agree? Or
No, I agree. Like, it is very easy to get sucked into the whole like, buy from us, please. But it's like after a while, you can kind of engage with them in other ways with like calls for action, for example, and be like, this is what we think of this. Let us know what you think in the comments, and just calling for like kind of and doing Q&As and having like question stickers in your story. It's like kind of giving your community a voice and an impact in what you do, which then makes them feel valued, which then means that they're going to stay a member of your community for longer. Unless they don't like to be talked to, but I don't think many people do.
I mean, I was going to say, I feel like the Body Shop are quite a good example of a brand.
Yeah.
You're going to disagree
I
with
love
me.
The Body Shop.
Oh,
No.
I thought you were going to say, no, I hate them. No,
No,
I think I think that they're a great brand because they don't just sell their products, but they also, you know, focus on like the ethical side of you know, their product and their branding.
Well.
Yeah, and I feel like that also like really resonates with their audience, which in turn helps to grow engagement and also just grow their following naturally, like I was saying. So I feel like they've really perfected it. So any brands that are looking for other brands to aspire to, then the Body Shop is right there in front of you.
I feel like another advantage of, you know, creating a community is that you're almost building like this group of brand loyalists or like brand ambassadors. Like I know for myself, as well as like pretty much every customer on the planet, like if you have a space to express yourself freely, especially if it's on a brand's platform, you do tend to feel a sense of loyalty towards them. You know, you meet other like-minded people, and that's really where the word of mouth starts to kind of kick in. Like even if you don't make that initial purchase straight away, just having somewhere where you feel like you're part of a community, you know, the brand is not trying to lead you, they're one with you, it's very kumbaya. I'm definitely like, especially for like social media platforms, like how often do we talk about brands on TikTok at the moment that are killing it because they're just creating TikTok content. They're not creating big marketing campaigns, they're not trying to sell us anything, they're just like creating random content and getting down with the kids on TikTok. Like that's the type of brand that you speak about and that you follow. And I think, like, I hate to bring up TikTok again, but like it just really shows the power of community building more so than any other app these days. And I just think it's a really, really good example.
I think you've come to like a really good point now in terms of like making sure you're picking the right social media platforms to build your community. So like you're saying, Chloe, TikTok is a massive one at the moment. Definitely jump on that trend if you're not already. Obviously dependent on what you're trying to sell. But I feel like TikTok is quite a good one, just generic for anyone really. I think you guys would probably agree with me on that. But also like Facebook, if you're using Facebook, create a Facebook group for your community. And I think that's such like an underestimate, like, what's the word? It's an underestimate. An underrated. Thank you. An underrated form of building a community.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I love Lucy and Yak. They're like a dungarees clothing company, all ethical. Got to stay on brand. And like they've got a couple Facebook groups. One of them is like, it's literally called like Lucy and Yak Community, and like everyone who kind of like wears the dungarees, like they kind of like put their photos up on there, and then the brand like interacts with them as well. Like their customer service team are on there, so they like respond to like sizing questions and that. And then they like every Monday, I'm sure you guys have seen it on my Instagram story as well, but like on Mondays it's like a mirror selfie Mondays, like you send your picture and you can win like a gift card.
That's awesome.
I know, it's great. And then as well, because like being ethical and sustainable is like one of their main things, they have a second group that is run by them for like buying and selling like their used clothes.
Love that.
I know. So it's like if you've like outgrown them, or like you don't wear them as much, or you just want to like buy some for cheap. This is some great free promo. You're welcome. Pay me. Yeah, it's just like you've got like two very like, I think that's a really good example of like using Facebook groups to like really benefit your community and like interact with them.
Well, it's another great example of incentivizing your community. Even if like this is so major, if you don't have that community yet, then it's so important that you do what you can to attract them. And we all know that those early contributors are the hardest ones to find.
Yep.
Like it could take you a year to get a single comment, but maybe after that it just starts flowing through. So offering some sort of incentive to encourage participation is super crucial. It could be like, offering discounts, early access for people who come and comment early. Katie, Lucy and Yak is an awesome example. Like having that buy, swap, sell group, I think is epic. Like, because you're pretty much, even if you don't own Lucy and Yak, right, you could kind of just slide in there and then end up getting something that's like half the price of their new listed items. So like if you're not really sure where to start, I guess like the first step is to create that safe space, find that standpoint, and then just incentivize as much as you can. Even if people that comment first, send them a DM and just like thank them and welcome them to the platform or to your brand, it's not tacky. Like I think it's very personal and it goes a long way, especially to the consumer, right?
Yeah. And like especially after, I can't remember when it was we spoke about it, but like Facebook's new group updates that they're gonna do, like that's just gonna make community building like even easier,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So there you have it, all of our actionable tips and tricks on why you should build a community over getting followers. So remember, again, don't get sucked into the traps of the follow and unfollow method, and don't buy your followers. It's a given. If you have any suggestions that we haven't brought up in today's podcast, please do let us know on our socials at GiraffeSM. Now it's time to dive into the top social media news story of the week. So, Lush has just quit TikTok, Instagram, and other social media platforms. For those of you who don't know, I know, shock of the century, guys. Going against everything that we promote at Giraffe here. Lush has decided to leave 4 major social media platforms until they, I quote, take action to provide a safer environment for users. So on Friday the 26th of November, the brand deactivated its TikTok, Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat accounts in all 48 countries in which it operates. Lush said it made the decision because concerns about the serious effects of social media are going largely ignored right now. So very interesting. Not something I expected. I mean, I don't know what you guys think either.
Didn't Lush hear that Instagram introduced its take a break feature recently? I mean, come on.
Don't.
I also love that they're now not on Snapchat, as if anyone uses Snapchat anymore, but
sorry. No offense.
No,
None taken.
This is interesting. I mean, Lush, more context, please. I get it. Like, social media is, I guess, a harmful and dangerous place to be, but we've known this for years. I just think this is quite good free press for them. No?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they are definitely one of the first big brands to make such a statement in the way that they have.
I think they might be the only one. I can't see this being like a wide-scale thing.
I mean, I'll be interested to see how it's going to affect the brand, because I feel like social media is such an important part of a brand's advertising nowadays. So losing that massive component, I don't know, I'm really interested to see the comparison between the two. And also, I was going to say, I do understand the consequences of social media, like I'm fully aware of that. However, I feel like Lush as a brand itself is quite a safe and kind of PG brand in that respect, where, it is just, cosmetic products. So I don't think they really promote that unhealthy context that some brands do. So I am shocked at this move.
I mean, like, Lush loves doing a bit of activism every now and then. Whether or not it's misguided is down to personal opinion. So, like, it's not the biggest shock that they've done it, because, like, they kind of do just want a campaign every now and again. But
Yeah.
it is just a big move to make, especially like whilst we're all, majority of us are still kind of locked inside.
I think it's one of those occasions where taking yourself off a marketing platform will get you more marketing than the platform would have. So I think it's like a strong move, and I can see why they've done it. But my two initial thoughts are, one, Ellie, I had not heard about this story until you and Katie brought it to me this afternoon. So while this is like a big sort of PR move, it's also like, okay, well, for the people that didn't catch this and now are trying to find you, like, it's a bit confusing. And my second thought, and this is stay with me,
Trust the process.
is, I don't know if you remember, but when the big BLM protests were happening back in 2020, Charli D'Amelio changed her TikTok profile picture to the Black Lives Matter logo, which was awesome and really great for someone with such a massive platform. But what happened was, and what people were kind of following closely, is like, okay, when she eventually wants to change her profile picture, there's going to be a big controversy because, you know, people will call her out and say that she doesn't, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives always matter, like, why have you taken this down, like that kind of thing. So it got fun because people were kind of giving her tips on when she could change it, and it was kind of funny to follow, and she has eventually changed it now and everything was fine. But Lush has made this really big statement about how dangerous and toxic social media is. We know that that's probably not going to get better. It's one of those things, unfortunately, like climate change, like, it's probably, we're not going to see a lot of progress because people are making money off it being this way. So are they going to come back before this change happens? And what's the reaction going to be then? Because it's like Brad and Angelina saying they weren't going to get married until, you know, we had world peace. And then eventually they just said, oh, I guess we'll just get married. So,
you know, like you do.
I mean, they have said that they are looking to invest in new ways to connect and build better communication channels elsewhere.
Okay.
But again, what that means, we do not know. And I would like to point out that they haven't turned their back on social media entirely. They still have an active Twitter and YouTube account.
Of course.
Yeah, I just don't see Twitter as being a non-toxic area, though.
Yeah, Twitter's like the worst one, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I just did a little bit of really quick research because, like, it suddenly twigged something in my brain because I went through a phase of being really obsessed with Lush. And they used to have, like, an Era 404 bath bomb, which used the hashtag keep it on, where they were basically campaigning and raising awareness that governments around the world have been blocking or limiting the use of internet service providers in their country. And I'm like, so, like, it's something that, like, kind of have been concerned with in the past, I guess. But as well, like, when was it they actually came off? Because when was Black Friday?
Literally the Friday just gone. So yeah,
It
Friday
came off
the
the day before.
26th.
So they came off on Black Friday, so that was like a good day to make that move, I guess.
It's all very random to me, but I am interested to monitor this now, moving forward.
Yes.
Okay, so moving into our latest and greatest segment, we're going to be trying to answer some of your burning questions sent to us on social media. Our first DM is all about today's topic, and it reads: is there a particular brand on social media that you believe has a strong community that I can aspire to create for my own brand? So I feel like this is a great question for us to answer leading on from our main and greatest segment of today. But yeah, do either of you want to take it away? I do feel like we will be slightly repeating ourselves, but if you have any additional brands that come to mind.
I know I talked about Lucy and Yak earlier, so to harp on about them again, please send me things, is like one of their main things is like their community management is so strong. Like they are constantly like popping up on like so like if you tag them on stuff on Instagram, you're gonna get like a like. If you like tag them in your story, you'll also get, it's like little things like that. And like within the group as well, they'll interact with like members of the group, and like their images, and like they've even done polls in the past of like, what design would you like to see next, like what kind of colours would you want to see next. So they're like really making their community's voice feel like valued, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love a brand that really gets their audience involved, especially when it comes to like choosing the next product or the next big flavor. Like, this is such a big corporation, but like Cadbury, when they used to do those campaigns where you could create a flavor, I think that...
and Milkers as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so good. And yeah, we used to work with a client that did the same thing. They really loved to get their audience involved when it came to like creating new products and asking them what they thought about their products. It's really 100%. Awesome.
And then like as well, like maintaining that community, like as well as making their voice feel heard, like making their content feel appreciated, you know, like if they are creating user-generated content, if you share that and if you interact with that, like that's automatically gonna make them feel like you value them as a consumer, which is what consumers like, right? They just want to feel special.
Totally. And I know we're looking for some examples that are a bit more close to home, but Disney at the moment is really doing the most. Like, obviously they're just having the most epic next couple of years with all their like Star Wars and Marvel releases, but like they're very active on social media. They've gone as far as to like invite TikTok creators to their premieres to like interview the stars, which is so huge, like for in terms of like how far we've come with the influencer brand relationship, but also like for those creators, like can you imagine they kind of started their TikTok account during the pandemic as just for a bit of fun, and now they're quite literally on the red carpet interviewing the likes of Angelina Jolie or Tom Hiddleston. Like, it's crazy.
I know, it's like a few cosplayers that like I know as well, like they've also been like contacted by Marvel and been like, do you want to come to our premiere, dress in cosplay, get the free promo? And it's like, I'm very much for like a paying artist, but like that free promo, like that's huge to be able to offer.
Definitely. And yeah, when it comes to a brand like Disney, like that really is kind of like, okay, the exposure maybe does pay my bills, but yeah, and in terms to kind of bring it back to community building, I guess, like, because that is such a huge experience for the creator, obviously they're going to create content around that experience. Disney doesn't need the promotion, like everyone knows of Disney, but you know, for platforms like Disney Plus, like that really helps to get followers over there, because these fans want to see their favorite creator that's like share that success with them. So of course they're going to jump over to the Disney accounts, and they're doing a really good job at the moment of sharing creator content, whether that is cosplay, like you said, Katie, or even just like movie reviews and things like that. So I've got to throw Disney in there. I know it's probably a bit too big maybe to aspire to, but if you can find a way to scale that down, I think that's awesome.
Start with Disney and then get smaller.
Aspire big, you know. the one brand I was going to say, and I know I've spoken about them before on the podcast, but it is Opoly. And they honestly, they make me want to buy from them because of their community management. They are on it. Every single like comment they'll get, they will respond to. And it's like personal, and every comment's different. And I think like you know, that is building a community in itself, and it's also encouraging me to like want to tag my friends, and you know, in the hopes of getting this, that, and the other from them. So I definitely feel like that's one to look at if you're looking to build on your community, kind of like just kind of boost engagement amongst your followers.
Yeah.
And like if you don't want to look too huge, because it can seem a bit intimidating, because if you're a small business, you're probably just like a team of 1 or 3 people. So like look at what other small businesses are doing, like places who've got Etsy accounts and that, kind of see how they're interacting with their audience and pick up hints from there, because you know, it's probably more scaled down to like a niche audience.
And I know this is a very long-winded response, but just to jump on the end of both of what you were saying is mentioning someone by name just goes the farthest way. Like, it's such a small task. It's so easy for you to do, but whether it's a brand or like influencers, if I comment on their stuff and they go, oh, thanks, Chloe, or "You're welcome, Chloe," I'm like, they know me. And it just like instantly like builds it's not a connection because it's obviously we still don't know each other, but like it's just that
relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, that recognition, like that they took the time to kind of know your name. Oh my gosh, I sound like Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man, like, you know my name? But yeah, that is, if you want to start small, I can't get much smaller than that. That is the place to start. It's just,
just like
commenting
personalizing
names.
your approach to
Totally.
your followers and that.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Take our tips and tricks and let us know if it works for you. Hopefully we've helped and answered some of your question. And if you'd like to be featured in next week's episode, then make sure you slide into our DMs on Instagram at giraffesm. Well, that's all we've got time for today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or follow us if you're listening on Spotify. We'd love to hear what you thought about today's episode, so make sure you reach out on social media and let us know what you thought. We've been Giraffe Social Media, you've been amazing, and we'll see you next time.